So let me start our today's discussion on the Santals, pioneer settlers. At the end of 1810, Buchanan crossed Ganjuriya Pahad, which was part of the Rajmahal ranges. So this Ganjuriya, it was a part of the Rajmahal ranges. Just after crossing, he found a small village. The village was very old and looked at the landscape. Buchanan observed evidence of the region having been transformed through human labor. He realized that somehow the land was cultivated by human or through human labor. The soil was rocky but uncommonly fine. The soil was rocky but it was uncommonly fine. On query, he found that the land was cultivated by the Santals. So after query, he found that after asking the Pahadiyas and other people of that area, he realized that the land was cultivated by the Santals. They came into the area in 1800, displaced Pahadiyas. They came in India, in that part, and settled down in 1800, and they expelled the Pahadiyas from that area, cultivated that area, settled the land. Now, how did the Santals reach the Rajmahal hills? Now, question may automatically comes to our mind that how these people, how these Santal people, they came and they settled down. The Santals had begun to come into Bengal around the 1780s. Around 1780s, they came in that area in Bengal. Jamindars hired them to reclaim land and expand cultivation. So the interest of the Jamindar was that they invited these Santals with the interest of expanding the cultivated land. And because of that reason, the Jamindars hired them, and British officials invited them to settle in the jungle mahals. So the intention of the British was also the same. They also wanted the extension of the cultivable land, and because of that reason, they invited them in Rajmahal areas. Having failed to subdue the Pahadiyas and transform them into settled agriculturalists, the British turned to the Santals. Now, why the British turned towards the Santals? The reason behind that was very clear, because they failed to make them somehow civilized. They failed to make them obey the British laws, and because of that reason, or because of these various reasons, they turned towards the Sautals. The Paharias refused to cut forests, resisted touching the plough. It was very common with the Paharia character, and with their character, they refused to cut forests. They resisted to touch the plough, and continued to be turbulent. The Sautals, by contrast, appeared to be ideal settlers. But on the other side of the coin, what we observe, that the Sautals, they were very ideal for settling in lands, clearing forests and ploughing the land with vigor and enthusiasm. The Sautals were given land and persuaded to settle in the foothills of Rajmahal. So the Sautals were given land in the foothills of Rajmahal hill area. By 1832, a large area of land was demarcated for the Sautals, and that land came to be known as Damin-e-Kho. This was declared to be the land of the Sautals. They were to live within that particular area, or demarcated area, and the demarcation was made by the British. The land grant to the Sautals stipulated that at least 1/10 of the area was to be cleared and cultivated within the first 10 years. With an intention, the British authority given them land that 1/10 of the area should be made cultivable within 10 years. The territory was surveyed and mapped by the British authority and closed with boundary pillars. It was separated from both the world of the settled agriculturists of the plains and the Paharias of the hills. So this demarcated land, it was separated by the British both from the Paharias and the settled agriculturalists. Those who were settled agriculturalists, they had their land, and this portion of land was demarcated by the British and separated it from the turbulent Paharias and the settled agriculturalists. After the demarcation of Damin-e-Kho, after that demarcation, Sautals settlements expanded rapidly. So after this demarcation, the expansion of settled land, it was started to be increased rapidly. From 40th Sautal villages in the area in 1838, as many as 1,473 villages had come up by 1851. So in 1838, there was only 40 Sautal villages, but in 1851, 1,473 Sautal villages were there. Over the same period, the Sautal population increased from a mere 3,000 to over 82,000. So within that period, the population was also simultaneously increased, and it was increased from 3,000 to 82,000. as cultivation expanded and increased, volume of revenue flowed into the company's coffers. So, as the cultivation expanded and increased volume of revenue flowed to the treasury of the British authority. The volume of revenue, it was increased. Chautal myths and songs of the 19th century refer very frequently to a long history of travel. So their songs represented a history of their long travel. They represent the Chautal past as one of the continuous mobility. These songs represent the Chautal's past as one of continuous travel, continuous mobility, a tireless search for a place to settle. So there was a search from the end of the Chautals, from the beginning up to the settlement. Here in the domain echo, their journey seemed to have come to an end. So with this demarcated land for the Chautals, their journey or their travel actually came to an end. When the Chautals settled on the Paharias of the Rajmahal hills, the Paharias resisted but were violently forced to withdraw deeper into the hills. So after the settlement, what happened? The Paharias, they were forced to go more deep into the forest areas, restricted from moving down to the lower hills and villages. They were confined to the dry interiors. So they were restricted to go to the villages where settled villagers were there, settled agriculturists were there. They had to go more deep into the forest areas, which were very very barren, very rocky, with hills. This severely affected their lives. So this severely affected the lives of the Paharias, impoverishing them in the long term. In the long term, they were made impoverished. Shifting agriculture depended on the ability to move and to newer and newer land, and so it was the characteristic of the shifting agriculture that the agriculturalist had to shift from one place to another. There was a continuous movement on the part of the agriculturalists. When the most fertile soils became inaccessible to them, being part of the domain. The Paharias could not effectively sustain their mode of cultivation. So it became very hard for the Paharias to continue their cultivation. When the forests of the region were cleared for cultivation, the hunters amongst them also faced problems. So the hunters amongst the Paharias, they had also faced severe problems just after the expansion of the cultivation area. The Santals, however, soon found that the land they had brought under cultivation were slipping away from their hands. But after some time, the Santals realized that their land, which was made by them cultivable, and they cultivated and settled down in that area, was slipping away from their hands. The state was levying heavy taxes on the land that the Santals had cleared. The state it levied huge amount of land revenue on the land, and that became a problem for the Santals. It was their land. It was cleared by the Santals, but even then they had to pay an amount as revenue to the state. Moneylenders were charging them high rates of interest and taking over the land when debt remained unpaid. So the moneylenders also came forward. They gave money for cultivation, and if the money was not returned by the cultivator, that land was captured by the moneylender. The Jamindars were asserting control over the domain area. The demarcated area was which was meant for the Santals. However, the Jamindars pushed their nose into that area and wanted to control the domain area. By the 1850s, the Santals felt that the time had come to rebel against Jamindars. By 1830, the Santals felt that it was high time for them to start a rebellion against the Jamindars, moneylenders, and the colonial state, in order to create an ideal world for themselves where they would rule. So their intention was to start a rebellion against the Jamindars, against the state, against the the Jamindars, the state, for creating an ideal place for themselves. So from in 1850, the Santals felt that it was the time for them to start rebellion to save themselves from the Jamindars, from the British colonial state. and from the moneylenders too. It was after the Shautal revolt that the Shautal Parganas was created. So after the Shautal revolt in 1855-56, a Pargana was created for the Shautals, carving out 5,500 square miles from the districts of Bhagalpur and Birbhum. So after 1856, a Pargana was created for them, carving out 5,500 square miles, and that square miles was taken away from Bhagalpur and Birbhum area. The colonial state hoped that by creating a new territory for the Shautals and imposing some special laws within it, the Shautals could be conciliated. So the British wanted to conceal the Shautals, and because of that reason they gave a separate land for the Shautals in 1855-56. So thank you very much for today, and from next day I shall start with another topic. Thank you.